Moving forward, we'll be going more in depth into the regions that we talked about pertaining to the ancestry of the Atlantic African diaspora in the Americas. Basically so that you have somewhat of a framework and you're not lost in the sauce. The first region we'll be talking about is Upper Guinea. You've probably heard me say Upper Guinea a lot of times if you've been keeping up. The name Upper Guinea coming from the fact that Africa was called Guinea by Europeans a lot of the time. You had to travel north of this area to get to Europe. Countries that made up the Upper Guinea was Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Mali. Being the first region of Africa Europeans encountered, this area was dominated by Mande and coastal non-Mande peoples, whose differences when it came to Islam and government systems would have a role in how social and economic systems played out to this day, and the forced migration of around 1.5 million people. The next region that we have is the Gold Coast, which included today's Ghana, as well as Burkina Faso. Harboring the most forts and castles on the African continent, Europeans initially came here not in search of enslaved people, but for gold. Gold which would propel the mercantile class in Europe into capitalism. Many of the peoples here were initially Guan, Akan, Grunzi, and Mori Gurma peoples. Starting in 1641, there was more of a sale in firearms in exchange for enslaved persons on the coast, which would then lead to the expansion of the Asante Empire all the way north into Burkina Faso and the forced migration of 1.2 million people. Next, we have the Bight of Benin, which encompasses a lot of countries. So the southeastern part of Ghana, or the Volta region, today's Togo, Benin, southwestern Nigeria, especially states that are Yoruba speaking, southwestern tip of Niger, southeastern portions of Burkina Faso, and today's northern Nigeria. Europeans started to get acclimatized to that area through the Benin Kingdom of today's southwestern Nigeria, but they really began to set up shop in 1660 when they made trade relations with the Ajah Kingdom of Alada in today's Benin. This place was known chiefly as the Slave Coast, especially after the rise of Dahomey and the Sokoto Caliphate in today's Nigeria, in which more than 2 million people were forcibly transported to the New World. Next, we have the Bight of Biafra, which consisted of southeastern Nigeria, the grasslands of Cameroon, and today's Gabon. Most Europeans kind of hated being around this area, so trading here was slow and sporadic, but it popped off around the 1750s when Arochukwu entrepreneurs found a way to have faster turnaround times when it came to enslaved persons, palm oil, and ivory, implicating around 1.6 million people. And lastly, West Central Africa, which consists of Congo, DR Congo, Angola, and Zambia. This was the second place Europeans arrived at, and they quickly established relations with the Kingdom of Congo. Initially, things went on smoothly, with the King of Congo even converting to Catholicism. However, things turned sour with European meddling and succession disputes, leading to civil war, destabilization of the Nzumbu, and 5.6 million people to be transported across the ocean. Make sure to follow and like.